Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So recently I was shopping at TJ Maxx and some of their floral decorations can be a bit pricey. So what I like to do is pick up some things from the Dollar Tree and I will actually make my own floral decorations. So I purchased the flowers, vase, and rocks from the Dollar Tree, and I ended up purchasing the tape, brush, and paint from Walmart. So all of this came up to less than $7, which is pretty amazing considering the price that I would have paid. There are so many ways that you can make your own vase unique in your own, but for starters, I decided to actually use gold paint instead of the white that I saw a lot in TJ Maxx. Gold is something that I tend to go towards anyways. I love gold and glitter, so that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So taking the tape, I'm actually twisting it around the perimeter, I guess you could say, or the outside of the vase. I didn't want it to be a straight line going down. I wanted it more of a design, and so I made it where it curved all the way around the vase. Also, when you're placing down the tape, you want to make sure that the tape is as flat as possible to the vase. You don't want any openings at all, because then that's a chance for paint to actually get in and ruin your design. So you want to make sure it is as flat as possible. I'm also placing down a second piece of tape, and it is actually going to be a thicker space between the other first tape that I put, because that way it will help to have a wider curve. And this is going to be where I'm actually going to be placing the paint in between these two pieces of tape. So this is how it should look when you finish putting down both of the pieces of tape. And then what I actually did, because it would take a lot longer with the paint, is I just poured a good amount of paint in between the two lines, and then I just started using the paintbrush to just spread it out. So this is exactly what I'm going to be doing. This is just the first time I'm actually placing down the paint. So I wanted it to be a little bit thick, but not too thick, if that makes sense. I didn't want it too thin where I could completely see the glass still through, but I did want it thin enough so it could dry faster. Also, you want to make sure that your brush strokes are long, so that way it will look more store-bought, I guess you could say, and not so homemade. So after I did that, I actually waited 5 minutes, and that is enough time for the very first coat to dry before you put on the second coat. So this right here is actually the second coat, and it's going to look like it's a little bit damp because it is still a little bit wet, the paint, but you want to put a thick amount on here compared to the very first time. And you're just going to be doing the exact same thing. You're just doing long brush strokes until you have a more golden color, and you're just going to keep building up on that color. It's as if you were to paint your nails. You just keep building up until it's the desired color and consistency that you want. After the second coat, make sure you're giving at least half an hour between each coats to let it dry completely. So now here is for the fun part. I absolutely love glitter, and this is completely optional. If you don't want to do this, it's completely up to you. But this is actually cosmetic glitter. It's something that I'm supposed to use for my eyes, but this is the only glitter I had around my house, and I haven't been using it for a while, actually a few years now, so why not put it to good use? And I actually decided to decorate the vase with it. So I applied a little glitter, and then what I did was I would switch it between the brush and my hand, and that's how I would use it to actually spread it around. So I would take some of the glitter, sprinkle it on, and then sometimes I would use my hand, and then sometimes I would use the brush to just spread it around and make it look as even as possible. Even though it may land in clumps, using the brush and your hand to spread it out will help to make it look as if the glitter came with the paint, and you just want it to look as professionally done as possible. So this is how it looks once you finish applying all of the glitter. I actually didn't use too much. A little glitter goes a long way. I know it looks like a lot, but because the paint was already gold, it helps to just bring out the shine of the glitter anyways. So moving on, I had the white rocks from the Dollar Tree, but I decided to actually, I guess you could say, spice up the rocks a little bit, and I decided to use half of the rocks to paint them gold. So what I did was I took some of the gold paint that I had for the vase, And I used the same brush that I had used for the vase. So what I did was I used the brush to actually help mix that gold paint onto all of the rocks. Now, I wasn't going OCD to the point where every single section of each rock had to go from white to gold. No, it's just to the point where the majority of it was gold. You may still see specks of white, but that's completely fine because it's already going to be next to some rocks that are white. Once I finished this, I actually left the rocks in the vase overnight, and then the next day I decided to take off the paint from the vase. If you notice that I'm doing it slowly and I'm holding my thumb next to the paint because I don't want it to actually take off any of the paint. If you take off the tape slowly, you'll be completely fine. So when I finished that, I actually used some glass cleaner to help remove any fingerprints or any spots of paint that could have been left over from the tape that was pulled up. And also, this is completely random, but I'm sorry if I sound congested, but I am getting over a cold. But moving on, this is the rocks from the next day. You can tell they don't stick together at all. What I was going to do was I was going to have the rocks like this, but I decided I did not like the way it looked with a curved design and then the rocks laying flat against each other. It just did not look right to me. So what I decided to do was focus my attention on the flowers first. They would have been too tall for this vase, so I actually am cutting each of the flowers apart. So each flower is separated from the other flower, and that way it helps to bring it down and fit inside of the vase more. I love how the flowers are lower. And then I actually mixed up the rocks so the white and the gold are mixed completely together. And then I slowly would put each of them in. So I'd take a handful, pour it in, and then I would turn the vase so it wasn't like the rocks ended up being lopsided. I wanted the rocks to end up looking flat and having just a straight top at the top, if that makes sense. But either way, every time I would take a handful, I'd pour it in and then turn it around so that way it wouldn't have an angle to the rocks when I was completely done with it. So this is basically the finished look. I love it because it's so unique and completely all my own, and no one else has this design but me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love decorating my front hall and just doing different DIYs for my home. So if you are interested in seeing more of these, then definitely give it a thumbs up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this affordable DIY video, and of course I will see you in the next one.
She just wants to be beautiful, she goes